Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Future Tech Chat. We made it into the double digits. Yeah.
Woo!
Today we'll be talking about smart TVs. I am joined by Mike Attrell. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm all prepared with my headset, ready for quality audio.
Yeah. Live from India. I uh, I noticed you spelled TV wrong in your
I didn't
nickname.
actually. It's how it's spelled in Charlie and Chocolate Factory. It's a reference. Yes.
Okay, good enough. Uh, Today is a huge topic. TVs. This topic gets bigger every year. Right now, I think it's we can get TVs that are what 100 inches, if not an entire wall of your house on projector.
Yep.
But everybody loves TV. Everybody loves watching TV, and I don't think as many people enjoy the actual specifications of and electronic details of TVs, but that's okay. We'll talk a bit about that, or maybe a lot about that, depending on how in depth to it we get. But we got lots to talk about: the hardware side, the software side, TV itself as a service. So let's get started. Um, I guess we'll talk about hardware first. Um, what kind of TV do you have, Mike? That's a good place to start.
I have a 37-inch Panasonic Viera, just regular LED TV, and then I have a LG Smart TV, 32-inch, nice and compact for the bedroom, pre-loaded with all the apps that we need. But yeah, those are the two TVs in our house.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I uh, I always find it interesting that I mean there are obviously people who don't watch TV, but if you have a TV and you live in an actual house as opposed to an apartment or something, it's almost guaranteed you have more than one. You rarely
Yeah.
hear people like, oh yeah, I just got one
Yeah.
TV. It's either
Yeah.
zero or it's more than one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's funny because I was going to bring that up anyway, but you know, we were in a condo and we only needed one for the longest time. But then we found we weren't watching TV outside in the living room anymore. So like, oh, let's get a TV for our bedroom. Then we moved to a house and we were going to have a TV downstairs in the basement in our room, and we're like, well, there's this empty space in the living room. Let's get a TV. So we actually just moved the TV that we already had upstairs into the living room, but we might end up getting one for downstairs as
You
well.
might get a third one.
Right.
Nice. It's kind of amazing how much TV you can get for $1,000 these days.
Or even less. Boxing Day is
Well,
amazing.
yeah, of course. But if we're talking about smart TVs, um, it's hard for me to love smart TVs like a literal just a TV with all its apps and stuff. I also the smart TV that we have is Panasonic Viera, and it's got the smart and it's 3D as well. I've looked at the apps and they're pretty like other than Netflix and YouTube, there's not a whole lot to write home about. I know you can connect it to Twitter and Facebook, but I don't know anyone who's done that.
Oh.
I think you can Skype as well with it, but who uses Skype? It's sort of weird to me that like there's so many different platforms, and Netflix and YouTube are the only ones that have said, okay, we're gonna go on everything. Whereas all these other companies, they haven't really spread themselves out onto TVs. They may have apps for like set-top boxes, like the Roku or the Apple TV or all that, but they don't have ones dedicated that are actually built into TVs.
hmm
And that's kind of disappointing, especially the ones that do local streaming, because the built-in app, like the DLNA apps on TVs, are notoriously horrible. I've never seen one that was designed well or quick or anything you'd ever want to actually use if you had the choice.
hmm Yeah, like, I think we were kind of spoiled because we got our LG Smart TV, and it has its own app world. And just in my research, it sounds like when people look at smart TV app environments or ecosystems, that LG has one of the more robust ones. And yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think I've found myself wanting anything more. Like if you switch the country setting on the TV, because you can switch between Canada, Mexico, and US,
Hmm.
and you can actually get the Hulu app on your TV when you switch your your country,
Yeah,
and then assuming that you're able to sign up for your a Hulu account, which you can through various means, you can use their app and just right from the TV, from the smart TV function.
that's
And
without
yeah,
VPN or anything. You just need an account.
yeah, you just need the account. And then there's CBC apps, there's like global TV apps. There's a whole bunch of apps like just local channels that will load content, and it's all searchable through the LG Smart TV program. Yeah, a lot of it is like YouTube based and that kind of thing, but it does seem to have a good amount of apps. But I think I agree with you that other than YouTube and Netflix and perhaps Hulu, I don't think people are going to use too much within the smart TV functionality.
Right. I find it interesting because I like the Panasonic doesn't really have any of that.
Hmm.
Um, it's weird to me that it's not a cable package that has these global and CBC apps. It's the
No.
actual TV itself.
Yeah, and if you have, as long as you have like internet connection in the TV, you can use those apps.
Right.
And just go to there's like international ones. There's like Japanese ones that have Japanese shows. There's Al Jazeera is on there.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. Like if you have the time and if you have the interest to watch that kind of stuff, then it's definitely available.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you? I assume yours with the YouTube app. It does the whole remote control, and you can set up a playlist, and
Yeah.
I
Well,
find that
that's
that's
just through the YouTube. That's just through the YouTube app, isn't it? Like on your phone, you can use it as a remote.
well,
When
it's
you
not
when you
really
send it to
remote.
when you send it to a device.
Yeah, you can throw the
Yeah.
video you're watching to the TV, and it'll
Yeah.
download it from there instead.
Yeah.
I really like that feature. I watch
Yeah.
a lot of YouTube, and so
Yeah.
yeah. But the other apps I haven't had much use for. The only ones I like the with I don't know if your TV does this, but I can take my like on my computer if I'm sitting there with a video ready to play, I can play it to the TV instead of having to go into the TV's settings and find the video. I can just right click on it and I'll TV.
This is through the DLNA.
Yes and no. I mean, it plays through that same like that same protocol, but you don't have to navigate through all the menus on your TV. You go to the folder on your computer and you hit play to, and it'll
Oh,
throw it
okay.
onto the TV
Yeah.
through DLNA.
Uh, yeah, I think I haven't played too much with that just because I don't have anything set up in a media sense in my house yet. But I know with like Plex, it has the Plex app on there. So I think as long as you have that, you can play it to your account and your device. And like with the phone, it has the Chromecast support with that as well.
Yeah,
So I think either would be an option for that. But yeah, from the smart TV aspect, I haven't played with that. But I'd have to look at that a bit more. That's kind of cool though that you're able to do that.
yeah, I found it nice. It's not perfect, um, and I've noted. I mean, when we first got the Rogers internet installed, they gave us a modem router to use, which was just it was notably terrible compared to anything that I've ever had that I bought personally. And so when I turned off the router and set up my own router instead, so just use it as a modem,
Hmm.
it got so much better.
Oh, really?
And like on the default router settings in the modem router, uh, you'd open a video and then it would glitch and it would just stop playing and you wouldn't be able to pick it back up where you left off. But then I set up an actual it's not even top of the line
Hmm.
router anymore, but
Just a
it
dedicated router.
was way
Yeah.
better.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've thought about that too, man. I have to look into that.
I've always
Telus has the same thing. They have the modem router, and I've always wondered how you're supposed to get the internet if you don't use it as a router. But I guess I didn't realize you could turn that router functionality off and set up your own dedicated router.
I don't know if it works for everything.
Okay.
You can definitely hook up your router to that router and then have a double network thing going on, which is, I mean, it works, but it's not ideal.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, with the Rogers one, you can definitely just turn it off and it'll
Hmm.
just be modem
Okay.
through the first port, the first Ethernet port.
Hmm.
Um, So I guess I thought you made an interesting point here, and I want to talk about it. You asked, are TVs being relegated to function mainly as decor? I, I want you to explain that. What does that mean?
It's what I was bringing up before. You know, we move into this house and it's like, what are we supposed to put in that giant spot there? And
Oh,
it's like, oh, I guess we'll get a TV. Like it's like, and or like you said, you know, you'll often have one like in the living room and in the basement and in your bedroom, but you often really only use one. You know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily use all of them equally, if at all. You might generally only use your bedroom one. Um, so then your other one is basically just being used as just
so is that what
there.
yours is? Yours is just like, oh, look, there's empty space. Nope, now there's a TV there, but you don't actually use it?
Well, because just the way that our layout is, you can actually see the TV from the kitchen,
Okay.
like just with the open concept. So Maria will often put something on just while she's doing whatever in the kitchen. So in our case, it actually does get used. I didn't think it would, but it turns out that it is. Um, but
It'd be an interesting conversation piece if you just had you went to IKEA and got, or not necessarily IKEA, but whoever provides IKEA with the fake TVs, just set it there and it's like, oh, let's watch something when you have people over, and it's like
yeah.
that's actually just a box. It just filled out the room really nicely. Look how big it is.
Yeah. The IKEA here actually has real TVs.
Well, yeah, yeah, no, but I mean, in the display rooms, they sort of have, at least the ones I've seen, they just have
No, so I mean, the ones in the display rooms are real. They're like on and they're like Sharp or LG or.
oh, maybe that's a new thing or our
I know what you mean though. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I've seen those before.
Do you guys have cable now?
No, no, we just use Netflix
Okay.
and our VPN, and between those, we are able to get all the TV we need. We're barely able to keep up with one show. Like we're watching Big Brother right now,
Yeah.
and it's like 3 times a week it's on, and it's like we can barely keep up with that. So
Yeah. I never understood watching TV ever since I got onto the sort of, you can watch any show you want whenever you want just through these various services. Why do you need cable? Like I can't
yeah,
just flip around cable anymore. If there's not a
yeah,
show on that I want to watch,
yeah.
I don't do that.
Well, look at it this way: when we had cable, we'd have our DVR, and we'd only ever watch shows on our DVR. If there's nothing on our DVR, we wouldn't watch TV. Like we
Yeah.
wouldn't flip through channels and see what's on. It's like, well, if there's nothing on that we already wanted to watch, like
Yeah.
pre-recorded, we wouldn't watch it. Because it's like, well, for one, it wouldn't be a show you'd normally watch, and two, you'd have commercials.
Yeah. And
So it's like, yeah,
even the idea of fast forwarding through them when the show's DVR'd, I can't. I don't like it.
yeah,
I understand that it's necessary and all that, but it's silly.
yeah. But we watch TV online on the network websites, and they'll still have commercials, and I think we've just gotten used to watching through them, or just
Okay.
going on our phones in between, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that works well.
Yeah, it's like a natural break.
Let's go see some ads on our phone instead.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess we'll move to, you want to talk about Ultra HD. I assume that's 4K that
Yeah,
you're, yeah.
yeah,
Do you, I mean, TVs are getting big enough that it could start to become relevant, but I don't think it's relevant yet.
yeah,
Having a 4K TV, unless you're sitting like 8 inches away from it, and it's 40 inches.
yeah. Yeah, I think, until you have, yeah, like full wall size TVs, you're not going to need that kind of resolution. Like you're sitting, the 1080p or even 720p, like you're not going to notice a huge difference. I think the one thing I do notice the definition with is sports,
Yep.
and trying to follow a soccer ball or a football or a puck or whatever. And then yeah, you definitely notice HD versus not HD and how good your HD is and whatever. But I think, is it worth having like a couple $1,000 in a 40-inch TV? It's not.
Well, I mean, the prices are going to come down. You could say
For
the
sure, yeah.
same argument about
Yeah.
1080.
Yeah. But your content's only going to be streamed, like they only like recently started streaming content in 1080p or 720p even.
Recently,
Like
yeah, in the last 5 or 10 years.
yeah, but HD TVs have been around longer than when networks actually started giving content in HD.
Yeah, but the majority of content, I still see.
Yeah.
I think if CTV here is still standard definition. Like it's in HD and it's 1080, but it's got the black bars on the side.
Right. Right.
I think is hilarious.
Yeah. And yeah, when HD first started coming out, they did sports in HD, which made sense. I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea. But yeah, I think now you'll see the 720p or 1080p content, but I doubt you'll see 4K content anytime soon. I don't think it's not worth it for networks
Yeah.
to be providing content in that. Which is why, in that article I posted about, these manufacturers giving away content, because it's like, well, here, look how good it is. Like, if you want to see
Yeah.
how good the 4K content is,
But this is all there is. You can watch the
yeah,
TV.
this is all there is. Exactly. You can watch, these 8 movies over and over again.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, our TV is 3D,
Hmm.
and behind the scenes, unbeknownst to me or a lot of people apparently, there is 3D content coming through broadcast networks. Like our TV will light up
Hmm.
a little notification in the thing saying there's 3D content found, and you can put the glasses on and
Hmm.
whatever show like Grey's Anatomy came up in 3D.
Oh, seriously? Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Like you with the TV, it will stereoify any content to make it
Hmm.
look 3D, but there are shows that are actually in 3D. Like we watched, especially on the movie channel, some of them just show up in 3D.
Yeah. I know TELUS has a 3D channel that I don't know if it's specific movies or whatever, but I never saw anything on there because we didn't subscribe to it and we didn't have a 3D TV anyway. But
Right.
yeah, I guess there would be content there for you.
Yeah. There are lots of people that just don't like 3D, but yeah, I
Yeah.
would. I have nothing against it.
Well, I think when I've tried it, because I tried it at Costco one day,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I guess it provides depth, which is kind of cool. Like it pops the picture out, obviously, right? It doesn't like fly at you or anything, but it gives that
Yeah,
depth
you can
feel.
set it up to fly at you. It's sort of I don't like the gimmicky 3D where they'll just like have stuff coming out at you on purpose just to
Hmm.
like, look, it's in 3D and this is necessary. Like I think Avatar
Right.
was the first to do that in a big way. They would like an arrow would shoot straight at
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Just like that's this
It
is
was cool. I liked that movie though. It was
I,
cool.
well, no, but I liked it, but I thought that part of the 3D was unnecessary. Like,
But
um,
people go to 3D movies to see that kind of thing.
but not to see gimmicks. They want to see it
Sure
used
they
well.
do. No,
No, I
cinemaphiles and techies, yeah, they want to see it used properly. But kids who go to see a 3D movie, they when they think of 3D movie, they think of stuff flying at them. That's what
but
they want to see.
animation is different. But when you're talking about live action, I find it strange that they are trying like step up 3D. They like their dance moves were all into and away from the camera just to be like, oh look, there's depth.
But I think that's too much, though. But yeah, no, I'd agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want them to use it. And actually, Spider-Man 2, I think, just came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Watching the trailer for that looks like well done 3D. Like rather than being just that there's depth, the camera actually moves with I guess it's probably mostly CGI,
Hmm.
but it looks really like they used it really well. Like the camera angle would actually rotate with. And I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, Spider-Man's a really good example for it because he's moving a lot and there's
Hmm.
lots of different directionality. But I thought it was really cool the way they used it, and I hope that it wasn't like they stuffed all of that in the trailer and everything else is just boring.
Yeah.
It looked like they were using really cool camera angles and doing things that you wouldn't experience life that way, but it's
Hmm.
really cool to see it in 3 dimensions. It makes it look way more real.
Yeah. For a while there, it seemed like they're just doing this post processing to make it 3D to charge an extra like $5 at the movie theater.
Yeah, and it would look darker
And
and
it would have like that depth, but it's like you're not even using the 3D. Like I think you can go the other way and just not use it at all,
yeah,
right?
yeah. 3D is weird to me, but I like when it's used well. I thought the Captain America was the last one I saw in 3D, and I thought I used it well. It wasn't. I wouldn't say like the trailer for Spider-Man, which I saw in the preview for that, used it a lot better,
Hmm.
but it wasn't. So that sort of put me off in the mood of like, wow, that was really cool. So no matter what I saw in 3D after it, it wasn't going to live up to it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but so if you like, we talk a lot about the future here, obviously. would you take the leap? And if there was, say, a 25% surcharge to get a 4K TV, would you get it? Just to be like future, not future proof, but like promote the future of.
Only 25%.
Yeah, let's say it comes down a bit because it's obviously not. I don't think it's there yet.
Put it this way, I bought a Blu-ray player just because I'm like, well, we don't have one, and it might be worth having one.
Well, I mean, you need
So,
something to put under your TV you never use.
well, it's like we don't have a DVD player, so we may as well get a Blu-ray player. And it actually was a smart one because our Panasonic wasn't a smart TV. So like, well, we want to see Netflix
Yeah.
just straight,
Okay.
so we can use it through the DVD player, right? So it served multiple functions. But yeah, within reason. Like if it was 1,000 instead of like 800, then sure. But if it was like I don't know, I probably wouldn't spend much more on a TV anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even the other side of 4K is coming down. It used to be a lot more expensive to like you couldn't buy a 4K or camcorder, but now
Mhm.
you can get there's a consumer, not a consumer version, but like the low
Yeah,
end for like $2,000 you can get a 4K
yeah.
camcorder.
Well, I heard about that, and isn't it like a couple minute video is like a couple gigabytes? It's
Well, yeah, it's
like it's
huge. That's
crazy.
so
Like
crazy. It's really, really high
yeah,
resolution and
yeah.
disk speeds. I mean, we've been stuck at SATA 3, 6 gigabits per second for 10 years. It's been a really long time. Like there's USB 3.1, which is coming out what
Right.
next year, or the year after,
Is that the one they're changing the actual port? Like the yeah.
which is going to be awesome.
Uh,
All the things I've heard about it say that it's going to be awesome.
well, it's supposed to be like the lightning connector, right?
But it's like it's reversible and very small
Yeah.
on both sides. Like it's interchangeable lengthwise too. Like either side can go into either thing,
Okay.
which yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I hope. If they do that, it would be cool if Lightning could be made to work with it, but I don't. That's not gonna happen.
No.
It'd be cool to. I can dream. The other thing I want to talk about with smart TVs, does your LG have an app that lets you remote control it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually really good. Like we have it on the phone, and it comes up with like a little trackpad, and then there's a little cursor that shows up on the TV. And then when you go into like a little bar to like type something, you can just use a keyboard on your phone. So it's actually like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's really really good. Like I love that. That's one of the best things I've had with the TV is being able to do that.
yeah. Ours has one the Panasonic one. You can get the actual remote buttons and you can like swipe
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
also
No, ours does the same thing.
there's no cursor, but
Oh,
you
okay.
can sort of swipe to move up or down.
So how do you select apps?
You
Just
swipe to the right and it'll move to the right and
oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I really like the cursor thing. You just use it as if it was a trackpad, and the cursor shows up on the TV, and
yeah,
you just click and whatever.
yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
The other app that was, I mean, that you wouldn't have, but the Rogers has an app that with a remote functionality for the box,
Oh, okay.
which is pretty sweet. You don't have to like I can actually I don't think I can control the power of the TV, which seems strange to me.
Yeah. I think TELUS has their DVR app.
Right.
Um,
The Rogers app you can turn the box on and off. You can change the channel. You can do all the remote functions, but you can also look at the schedule like
yeah,
in
yeah, the TELUS one does that
and
one.
add
Yeah.
things to the DVR and delete things from the DVR.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
Yeah. Well, there's one time we were at my parents' house and we're like, oh crap, we forgot to set the recording for the show, and we went on our app and just set it to record, like
yeah,
from my parents' house, and it was like, that's like amazing, like to be able to do
yeah.
that.
That's one of the things that makes it actually worthwhile to have cable.
Yeah.
Although the other cool thing with that same app is that there are certain channels that you can stream live
To your phone.
to phone,
Yeah.
tablet, whatever. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, some of them stream on the internet as well, but
Yeah.
although I find it weird and a little bit extortionist that if you're on your home Wi-Fi and you're watching TV streaming, the data counts towards your cap. It just seems a little bit.
Even though you're already paying for the TV.
You're paying for the TV and you're paying for the internet through Rogers, but they
Yeah,
still.
that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I don't like I like having the freedom to be able to watch TV in my kitchen on my
Yeah,
tablet.
yeah.
But
Well, you're
in,
already paying for the bandwidth of the TV, so why should you have to pay
yeah,
twice?
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
That's yeah,
That's the one thing
yeah.
that I don't like. Although you can use it anywhere, so you don't have to be.
Mhm. Yeah, you can be on your mobile network. But I find that now the network sites sometimes they'll ask you to put in your cable provider to watch
Yeah,
online.
yeah, they do.
So you, like, thankfully we were able to find like for Big Brother it's shown on Slice, and we were able to just watch it on online regardless, even without a cable package. But I think CTV, some of their shows, if you want to watch the older episodes, you have to be a subscriber to cable.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you're allowed to watch one or two shows of the most recent. But anything further back, you have to be a subscriber.
right. But do
So
they have so they have the full library? It's not just like on
yeah,
demand. They keep the
yeah,
whole.
yeah, the
Oh,
full library. But to use it, you have to be a cable subscriber.
see, but I'm okay with that. If
Oh, that's fine, but we don't pay for cable, so it
right, yeah, yeah.
screws us over.
If the TV networks united and actually did that well,
Hmm.
I pay for cable, like
Yeah,
no questions
yeah.
asked.
Well, CTV does a good job of that. They keep a library of all their shows,
Yeah,
or
that would
the
be
ones
tough.
that I've seen.
Like not coming from like I haven't watched TV in a really long time like, on TV. Uh, it'd be weird to me. Like for CTV, I don't know what shows are broadcast on CTV. I don't keep track of that.
Well, it's all the U.S. network shows. It's like
Yeah, but it'd be all split up. Like I wouldn't know if I was supposed to go to Global or
right.
CTV or whatever to like you'd have to have that in your memory and it seems kind of weird.
Well, you just look it up and see which like say like
Yeah,
Global shows Big Brother, so you go to
every time.
Global
Yeah.
and right, or like CTV always shows Amazing Race. Like it's always CTV.
Mm.
City TV will show like a lot of the comedies.
Yeah.
You know, CTV shows Big Bang. Like you just know which ones show which. I guess just
Well, you would, but I don't right now, and
right.
it seems strange to me now coming back to TV.
Yeah.
Rogers on Demand. In order to find the TV show you want to watch, you first have to click on the network that shows it, and then scroll down.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't work.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Like it seems like you should just be able to type in the name of the show or search for the show,
Well,
not
you
have to
can
go
you can
through the
search
network level.
you can search like Big Bang Theory Canada, and then it will the CTV site will pop up.
Not on my TV, not on the Rogers
No,
box.
just on Google. Just Google it.
I understand that. The whole point is to eliminate friction, not add another step of friction.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
look
should.
it
Yeah,
up
you
and
should
then
be.
you'll have the
Right.
information.
Right. You should be able to search by title, not by network. I agree.
Like, I guess I'm saying I wish it worked more like Netflix
Yeah.
in that you could just search and
Search by title.
it would show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you're in, like if you go into CTV, then you can search for Big Bang. If you
Right.
want. But
But if it's not there, then you're out of luck.
and you're like, oh, well, what channel is it on? Is it
Right.
Global? Is it
Yeah.
CBC? I know it's not CBC. I know that Big Bang is on.
CTV.
Yeah. Um, I have on here that I wanted to talk about licensing agreements and all the like services like Netflix and Hulu and all that not being able to be seen in certain countries and things like movies coming out in theaters and then you have to wait a certain amount of time and then it comes out of the theater and then you can see it on Netflix or whatever and
Yeah.
I guess from a legal standpoint I get that but I don't like it and I know that there's a whole sort of team of lawyers and lobbyists around the world that are talking about this and that are the reason for it, but it's really annoying as a consumer.
Hmm. Well, it created a market for VPNs.
Yeah.
um.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you'd hope that eventually the content providers will catch up with what people are doing now. I think
Have you heard of the service Popcorn Time?
a couple times I've heard of it. It's supposed to be like Pirate Bay, but
But direct, like, but also streaming. Like,
okay.
it does
Instead of
use
torrenting, it's you just
HTTP. It does use torrenting, but you just like it just shows you a library of videos. You click and it starts streaming. You don't have to actually have a client.
okay. I
And
have heard of it before,
yeah,
yeah.
and there's a whole discussion going on as to whether that service is actually illegal or whether it's the torrenting that it provides you that is illegal. And I think the whole conversation just shouldn't happen. This should be something that content creators or the distributors, I guess, should be able to do better. Like they have these billions of dollars in ad money that they could put towards a better solution instead of lining their pocketbooks.
Hmm.
So
Well, I
I find,
think,
yeah,
yeah, I think unfortunately, just media in general, their revenue is more so than ever ad-based revenue. I think, like with CDs, like CDs were never the biggest money maker. It was the licensing and the tours
yeah,
for artists, for music artists. But even more so now, people aren't even buying CDs. So now it's like all licensing and all touring. Like I don't think any
yeah.
music artist ever depends on album sales to support
Well,
their revenue.
they'll sell singles or digital albums.
Yeah, but no, they won't produce records because they're expensive. Um, and I don't know. Yeah, with movies, like I think there will always be date nights and people going to see movies, but I think for most people it's waiting till it comes out on the internet somewhere.
Yeah,
Or
I mean, I didn't get into Hunger Games until well after the first movie came out,
mhm,
and then I watched the first movie, and I really liked it.
yeah,
But I still haven't seen the second one, and I don't know when I'm going to. I'm sure it's out by now, but I just
yeah,
haven't gotten around to it. It's strange to me that there's enough stuff going on. There's enough sort of noise in the industry that some you can be really interested in seeing something, but just not like there's too many other things that are also happening.
yeah. And at the end of the day, people have to get paid
Yeah,
to actually make the content. So if they're not getting paid to by people going to go see the movie in theaters, then they got to get paid somehow, and they got to set up those restrictions to prevent people from taking away their revenue, I guess.
I find it in the software world. If for example, there's an Apple jailbreak developer who makes apps and develops all this stuff for jailbroken Apple devices, Apple or other tech companies actually seek these people out to hire them to
Hmm.
bring them into their team because they see how good they are. But you would never ever hear about the person who developed Popcorn Time getting hired by like Time Warner or Comcast or something like that. It seems strange to me that they don't even consider. There's like, no, that's not our. We don't want to do that. We have our business model.
Yeah,
We've been doing it this way for a long time. We don't want to change.
yeah, yeah. Like how much money do you think they could make by offering a service where instead of waiting however long for the movie to be released on DVD or whatever and then be pirated, or have people bring camcorders in just to release it online?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
and people host their own movie nights, right? Like,
yeah. If you hosted, or if movie networks decided to set up a good system where for like $10 or $20,
like a pay-per-view type system.
yeah, you can
Yeah,
actually on the night it comes out, you can buy,
yeah, exactly.
rent the movie
Yeah,
for 24 hours or whatever it is.
yeah.
People would do that.
Oh, for sure they would. Yeah. I think people are looking for convenience. They're not necessarily looking for free. Like, I'm happy to pay for an app or a song or whatever, or a game, and just for content if it's good content. But
If it's
if I don't
done
have,
well and done
yeah,
properly.
if I don't have to leave my house, then that's all the better. And I think for going for a movie, like I know, like for us, like it's hard to get out to a movie. So, but if we were able to watch, like, yeah, Hunger Games when it comes out, then we'd just put it on the TV and we'd watch it. Like, but
Yeah.
why? Like, I don't see why you'd have to have a delay after it's released in theaters. Like,
Well, in the movie, I understand the movie companies don't want to lose money. They don't even want to make less money than they have in the past, and so they have to charge a lot when the movie first comes out.
hmm
And so the movie theaters themselves that show the movies, that are the only places where you can see these movies, still don't make a lot of money because it's the distribution company that
yeah,
charges the
yeah,
theater. And so
Yeah.
the only way the theaters can make money is by selling
Concessions.
snacks. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so they sell them at a huge markup because they
Th-
it's really
That's their only
expensive to
profit. Yeah.
show movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only way that they get them any money out of it to be able to keep up. And there's a new theater complex being built here that is actually going to have upscale dining in it.
Oh yeah.
Alcohol
There's one
being
being built in
served.
ours too. Yeah, like just like 2 blocks from our house,
Yeah, they're
or
making it
ten
super
blocks, but
fancy.
yeah, yeah, it's like VIP. It's like Cineplex VIP.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they're building one here, and yeah, they're gonna be selling like alcohol and like upscale dining, and yeah, it's supposed to
date
be
to the movie.
yeah. But again, yeah, like you said, it's another revenue stream, right?
Or
Because
drive-in. Yeah,
yeah, drive-in movie, yeah.
just go full circle. Although if it's modern, it would have to be. Yeah, I can just see it like a vast parking lot type thing. Like it's all indoors. You just
Oh
drive
right, like
into a
a
parking
warehouse, yeah. Like a warehouse bay, and then just a giant projector.
lot. You said it's approximately 2 blocks from your current place.
Sorry, not two. I exaggerated. It's about 10 from
Okay.
from in Cranston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it strange that like I get downtown having something like that, but you're going to serve
Yeah.
alcohol at a place that's way out on the outskirts.
Yeah. Well, the things that everyone's moving out here, and they're actually trying to make it's this an area called Seaton. It's in Calgary, and it's the community just over from Cranston, and they're trying to make it the downtown of the South. That's actually like their tagline, like is like the South's downtown because downtown is like a half hour away. So if people on like a Friday night they want to go out, they want to come home from work and then go back downtown. They can just go to like this place, the Seton complex, and they'll have the movie theater, and they'll have like all the amenities of downtown. They want to have businesses down there too, and so that people are working down there, so you don't have to commute all the way downtown every day. So it'll be interesting to see how much of it develops and
Yeah,
what the concept turns into. But I don't know, I'm pretty excited for it.
that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean I like that idea. It's interesting. It's interesting that that is their idea because I've always found it strange that as the world gets connected more technologically, it's less important where you are physically. Like your connections to people tend to be history based rather than geography based.
Hmm.
And so like I don't know a single human being that lives within like an 8 kilometer radius of me
Hmm.
because my friends are all the friends I had when I lived downtown,
Yeah.
but they still are. But it's interesting that they're trying to sort of branch out the sort of social aspect of cities in that if they when they do that downtown of the South, people will gather there. People
Hmm.
that are from the South will gather there as opposed to spreading out
Yeah.
elsewhere. It might actually lead to a tighter sense of community,
Yeah.
getting to know people that actually live near you,
Yeah.
which can only be. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing that that doesn't happen, but it's a good thing. I would think
It's a
that.
good thing if it does happen for sure. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's cool. If there was a place, if there was bars or whatever down here, like around where I live now, not a 20 minute, half hour bus ride, I would definitely choose here at least sometimes.
Right.
Try to like I have nothing against anybody here. I just don't know. Like it's
Right.
hard because we're conditioned days like today. Like if you pass somebody on the street, you don't say hi to like you have no idea who this person is. It would be weird if you did acknowledge another person's existence.
Yeah.
Like
But
yeah, it's strange.
it's funny though because since moving here, our neighbor to the one side, he came over and knocked on our door and said, "Hey, do you want me to power rake your lawn?" I always power raked like the previous owners, and I was like, "Sure, yeah, cool, thanks." And then the other neighbor, said hi to Maria the other day, and we talked over the fence. They came around to the back, brought their dog over, and they have an 18-month-old too. And so I don't know, we were just talking. I don't know, everyone's been pretty friendly so far. So
That's
I think
cool.
it's cool that and yeah, we were the same way. It's like in our condo building, like, no one said like hi. Like I think it was probably like 6 months before we said hi to anyone on our floor. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, we're just down the hall there, and I don't know, but you still don't say hi. Like you just, oh hey, and that's it. Like you don't.
Yeah, you don't know anything about them. You
No.
just happen to live near them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that really weird, but it's definitely happening.
Yeah.
It's happened. Um, do you want to talk a bit about? I think we kind of got away from the hardware of TVs. Um, we could probably talk a bit about how to buy a TV, or what you, if you were going to buy a TV today, what kind of things do you look for?
Do I personally?
Yeah, like when you just
Yeah.
recently bought your TV, what were you looking for?
I looked for, well, first how big of a TV you wanted,
Mhm.
and then see what's available, and I did a quick review of just online reviews, and they're kind of mixed of, if it's not a brand new product, you won't find a whole lot of stuff about it. So I just basically went to the store and just looked at the TVs and just kind of saw which ones looked nice. And like I always hear stuff about like what's it called, the the black depth, the black level, I think. The
Contrast
different,
ratio?
no, it's called
Contrast
like,
ratio.
it's called black level, and it's like if you have just a bunch of different shades of black, how well it distinguishes the different shades.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that make an expensive TV expensive, is how well it has the different levels of
How true
resolving.
blacks are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's like dark and lighter, 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 and just how many grades of black it has. But I don't know. I guess it's kind of, I don't want to spend more than however much, and this is, and I go based on like brand name. Like you're not gonna buy like a Dynamax TV. You're gonna buy like Toshiba or
Sorry,
LG.
Dynamax.
Like for all I know, they could be like awesome TVs, but they're generally the cheaper ones. And I don't know, like I actually went to Best Buy on Boxing Day for the TV that we just bought, and I didn't even go in buying a smart TV, and I was like, oh sweet, there's like a smart TV for pretty much the same price. It was like maybe like $100 more, if that.
Right.
And I looked on the box and I was like, oh, it looks like pretty good. I think one of the things I look for now is like integration with my existing products and
Yeah, of
technology.
course.
Like I know Samsung TVs now, they integrate really well with their phones and their tablets.
Hmm.
Um, and I think you were saying before when we were talking about like devices, just phones in general, that people who buy Samsungs, they'll buy them just because they've always bought Samsungs and their products just work with Samsung and whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's only something people look for in general now, is how well they integrate with their devices. But I think now, getting more involved in tech, I'd look a lot more for connectivity and just how well it integrates with my technology and ease of use and that kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's other than the shininess of the box and the colors, which are also really important. The Yeah, I think it's really important to have it actually meld with the existing services you have. If it has a smart functionality, there's a there's another sort of school of thought, and it's one that I've had for the last little while. Um, Obviously, a smart TV is only as smart as whatever computer is powering its extra function. Um, and so for the last couple of years up until recently, have been just using Windows to power my TV. Like just literally have a full Windows computer powering
How do you mean powering?
the screen like a through HDMI. Like the smartness of my TV is everything Windows can do.
Because you use it as a monitor?
Yeah. And I mean, with Windows 8, it's gotten even better to be able to do that. But yeah, I really like it. I haven't used it so much recently because it's actually above me right now.
Okay.
Um, and I tend to I'll watch TV on my tablet or downstairs, and up here I'll generally just watch sports, or if something is on live, like I've been watching Cosmos up here. Um, but I like the idea of having a really powerful TV system. I understand that simplicity of apps and just having, like, there's no actual file system or anything. You just sort of you watch and stream whatever's on there. But it's nice having total access to do whatever you want, like to be able to surf the web, on your
Hmm.
TV. It's nice to be able to do that rather than just through the YouTube app to actually have the full functionality of the YouTube website, for instance, on there.
Do you find that your web browsing you're able to do, or you find yourself going to the TV more than say a tablet or your phone?
I
Like,
did, but recently I haven't used the TV so much up here. I've just used my tablet.
hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know why that is, but that's what I found is that I haven't had much opportunity to just be sitting here up here because this is the TV that I have that's connected to my computer, and I haven't had much use for doing that. I've just used either the tablet or even my laptop because
yeah,
I'm not generally up here unless I'm working
yeah,
or unless I'm watching something that's specifically on at that time on broadcast television.
yeah,
But yeah, it's weird because you can. I mean, with Windows 8 now, there again you have. I don't think there's an official YouTube app for Windows, but there's Netflix app, there's a Skype app, there's all of these things that have sort of the you can use it just as an app-based thing, but that's not really the use case that I've found. I've used it as it's a computer
hmm,
and it just happens to be on a bigger screen.
yeah,
It's nice if you have multiple people and you want to watch something. And I'm not saying I haven't used it at all because I have, but I just haven't used it as often as I could have.
yeah.
Uh, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I think we got through a lot of the hardware, and we can save the software side. The other talk about set-top boxes and talk about video streaming services in another episode. We can just
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of good stuff today, I think.
okay. I guess maybe we can reflect, and it's been 10 episodes. We're doing a special Mother's Day episode next week, um, which hopefully people are gonna. It'll be sort of a Q&A type thing with my mom. So what do you think? It's been 10 episodes. You were here for all of them. One, you were just here in spirit, but we were expecting you to pop up at any moment. How do you feel if this is an experiment? How do you feel it's gone so far?
I think it's gone pretty well. I think our viewership has, I'd say, at least doubled since the
It
beginning.
it is actually at 2 people right now. There are two
Yeah,
people
so
watching.
there you go. We have officially doubled. Um, yeah, and I think we can only go up from here, even if at times it seems like we're talking to ourselves. I think we're people are watching, and I think we're reaching the masses with our random thoughts and opinions.
We're on the verge of just exploding.
We are we're right there.
It's interesting coming up. Um, I've thought at times that there's just like, oh, every week it's like, oh, what are we going to talk about? And I think eventually it'll just be an ongoing thing. There won't necessarily be an overarching topic we have to talk about. And that happened today actually. We sort of branched off, and I think
Yeah.
that's fine. But I want to do at least part of episodes when there's something interesting happening, like when um, the Apple's Worldwide Developer Convention starts the beginning of June. I'd like to do that. I'd like to do Google I/O, like not necessarily while it's actually happening, but just talk about the kind of things that people can expect
Hmm.
and address, not necessarily not do a news-based thing, but discuss the implications of these things.
Yeah.
That's always been my favorite side of things to cover, is not just regurgitate what other people have said and what I've heard, but actually go move forward past that and think about what it means.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you'd mentioned on your net neutrality, we could probably have an entire separate
Oh yeah, for
conversation
sure.
on net
Yeah.
neutrality.
I didn't even want to
So,
get into that because I knew it would get into a whole ton of things, but
yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out in the next couple of weeks because I think the Supreme Court's debating it, or the FCC, and Supreme Court are debating it right now, whether or
Yeah.
not the current FCC chair, who used to be a telecom lobbyist, is going to do things. But it's not going to be good.
No, it's not looking good at all.
Hopefully they turn it around. High-ranking political officials have said there's no way we're letting this through, but it's
Yeah. Well, I read an article the other day on someone likened the U.S. government, I guess just North American government in general, or maybe worldwide government, maybe if you want to look at it that way, isn't a democracy, but an oligarchy
yep,
where
a corporate oligarchy, really.
where the people and corporations who have the money are the ones controlling the decisions that are made. It's not a democratic decision.
Yeah,
Because if it was, like, you'd have a ton of different things happening. You wouldn't have the craziness that we deal with now.
yes,
And then I saw another thing about a super PAC that was trying to end super PACs. I
yeah.
don't know if,
Well, yeah. There's a new one that came out in the last
yeah,
couple weeks, but
yeah.
Stephen Colbert's
Oh,
some
yeah,
his whole deconstruction of the entire thing I thought was
yeah,
really well done.
yeah. This one's actually like a more, not that his wasn't serious, like the point was serious, but this one's actually they're collecting funds in order to lobby against super PACs, but
Yeah,
they're using a super PAC to do it.
yeah. Well, even the whole discussion about how the super PAC has to be separate from the political party, but legally that doesn't mean anything. Like when Stephen Colbert had the super PAC, he would give like he transferred it when he was going to run for office.
Hmm.
He just literally on air said, "Here, Jon Stewart, you have control of this now. You have control of all of this money. We're not going to talk about what." And then once he was done running, Jon Stewart just gave it back to him. Like
Yeah.
it just the whole system is silly, and we can talk just about that another time. Just about the weirdness of it's the American legal system in this specific case, but the Canadian legal system has other weird things going on, and
Yeah.
how it affects tech is definitely interesting, and it's not necessarily relevant to everyday life for most people, but without realizing it, it's in there in the background.
Yeah. Well, there have restrictions on these like research grants and science R&D and that kind of stuff, and that affects tech just as much as anything else does.
Yeah, and the Canadian government's recent move away from R&D and technology
Yeah.
and science is very telling of that whole dynamic that our government is tending towards American style politics and away from I don't know. I don't really know that much about historically Canadian politics, but it's definitely you see it sort of going the way of not necessarily like Obama's politics, but George Bush's politics, and that's kind of
Hmm. Scary.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll save that discussion for another time. So yeah, I guess I will see you next week, and we'll keep trucking along.
We will. Good week.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Okay. See you, everyone.